So here we are again to move you through the Yamas.
Okay, so beginning with Ahimsa, or non-harming. Oftentimes this is related to why yogis are vegetarians, in that nothing wants to die, everything wants to live, and when some animals being killed, it's said that the violence that it experiences during that death is drawn into the meat, and then we eat that violence. That's basically how I understand it.
Very good understanding of that. If you think about ahimsa on a global level, non-harming in relation to the eating of meat, obviously animals eat a lot of grain or grass or whatever it is that they're grazing on, and those are a lot of small bits of life force that are being imbibed just so the animal can grow an ounce of flesh that you'll eat in perhaps a 6-ounce burger or something of that nature. So you can consider it like that if you're eating a 6-ounce or a 1-pound burger or something of that nature, you're eating a heck of a lot of life force that was taken in by this animal just so you could eat that 1-pound burger or half-pound burger or whatever it is. Whereas if you just eat the plant that took a shorter time and required a lot less resources to bring itself to life, you're utilizing a more efficient way of energy intake from that point of view.
From the environment, yeah.
From that environmental and just energy balances point of view, yeah?
Mm-hmm. I think it's important here, for the most basic level of ahimsa, or nonviolence, is that we don't kill or harm people, right? And in particular, we want to also think about the thoughts of violence, the feelings of violence, or the words. Those are also said to be very, very powerful when practicing nonviolence. Now, also, it's important that we don't have violence toward ourselves, which can be produced in many ways, such as
bad eating habits.
Bad eating habits, sleeping patterns, or lack of sleep, not wearing your safety belt, and those kinds of interactions.
Not keeping yourself healthy in general, you know. In a subtle way, that's being violent to yourself, because you're creating conditions for a sickly body later on, which we have at our disposal as we're born. You know, many of us have the capacity to stay relatively healthy through our yoga practice.
Maybe not drinking enough water.
Yeah, that's another.
Okay, so second is satya, or truthfulness. And we can think of this first primarily as lying, right? And not being truthful about things. Not being truthful toward others, right? Not lying to others, but also not lying to ourselves. That's an important aspect. And this is also thought of as in terms of feelings, thoughts, or words. So those three aspects, just like ahimsa, we focus on our intent not to lie, not to think of reasons to lie, or not have feelings of dishonesty.
Yeah.
And
yeah, having a bit of integrity toward all of your actions, thoughts, and words. On another level, being truthful to yourself. If you're real truthful to yourself and you are present at this moment right now as you are, and if you're keen in observing what's happening in yourself right here and right now, you're going to be pretty truthful to yourself. And if you're not keen with that observance of the circumstances right now, your primary happening right now, not the next moment, not the future, not the past, but right now, there's no way that you can be untruthful to yourself and therefore untruthful to others. So they kind of follow through with each other.
yeah, yeah, being fully conscious.
Aware.
And that's, you know, one of the main purposes of the 8 limbs, is slowly becoming awake all the time. Slowly. I think this is an important aspect because it is one of the primary reasons we practice the 8-limb path, is being fully conscious all of the time. Aware. And we'll notice perhaps that when we do encounter suffering in our lives, it's usually when we go unconscious while we're waking, in our wakened state.
We're just going through the motions.
Yeah.
Habitual.
Yeah. Now, our next is Yama is Satya, which is non-stealing.
Ashteya.
Non-stealing. And obviously not stealing property from others, and not stealing or having the thoughts of stealing things from people or yourself. You can sometimes think of that, stealing from yourself. In what way? Thinking of maybe
oversleeping.
Yeah, or stealing with the idea of taking what's not yours, right? Like guilt, for example.
Yeah.
So someone says to you that you shouldn't do that because you'll have guilt. I think this is an important point. Some practices in other kinds of religions also use this mechanism of guilt
as control.
As control, yeah. So just thinking about that in those terms.
Ashteya. Then you have next is brahmacharya, and at its most basic sense, brahmacharya could mean holding on to your vital essence. What is your vital essence? Perhaps the spirit of Brahma, which is the all-pervading divinity or creative force. You could call it that. At a grosser level, it's sexual abstinence, but we don't want you to understand it as necessarily sexual abstinence, because if you're truly in love with somebody from a very, very integral or very honest point of view, not only are you loving that person, you're loving yourself and you're loving the world as one divine creative place. So that's a wonderful way to practice brahmacharya. A wasteful way to practice it is to be the so-called playa, doing whatever you're going to be doing, and wasting your vital essence or your vital force.
Yeah, I think it's important to note that, because this really does, it does include sexual misconduct, as in the Buddhist tradition. It's considered sexual misconduct, this one ethic, and I think it's so important because the sexual energy is only trumped by survival. So in the echelon of energy from the body or instinctual mechanisms, it goes survival and then procreation. Yeah, sexual procreation. So it's really, really strong, and it needs to be looked after.
Not like an animal, because
right.
Procreation from just the I see something, I want to get it. That's very lower consciousness, more akin to an animal needing to just mate. When we're speaking about brahmacharya in that sense. But let me be a little more concise with the brahmacharya. To quote you from 4 Chapters of Freedom by Swami Satyananda, and what he says a little bit about on being firmly established in brahmacharya. Virya is gained. Brahma means supreme being, charya means living. But here the word brahmacharya means sexual contentment. Virya means semen, about which it is said that 1 drop is made from 40 drops of blood. Virya creates vitality. It's the essence of life which ultimately converts into energy. Now, many scientists have said that virya is nothing but hormonal secretions. However, Patanjali does not agree with this. Virya also means indomitable courage, which is essential for sadhana or spiritual practice. Thus, when firmly established in brahmacharya, the yogi gains vigor, energy, and courage, whereby he becomes free of the fear of death. Thus, brahmacharya is an important way of overcoming the disturbing emotion, klesha, called abhinivesha, which means fear of death. So brahmacharya is very important in relation to this for your practice, for your yoga practice.
Mm-hmm. Okay, last yama.
Aparigraha.
Yeah, possessiveness.
Non-possessiveness.
Non-possessiveness, greediness.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Non-greediness.
Yeah, that's pretty self-explanatory.
Self-explanatory, yeah. Not holding on, not holding on too tightly, not coveting others. Yeah, covetousness.
Yeah.
Not coveting others what they have.
Desire,
yeah, not desiring what others have, not
being content, which we'll go into.
We'll go into that later, but
in the Yamas.
Aparigraha is in some sense that feeds into santosh, which is contentment. So we have here the yamas, the social ethics.